Okay, week 18 is called Something's Screwy and Inclined Plane. So it's 2 experiments. The first one is called Something Screwy, where they're going to learn the parts of a screw and talk about screws. So screws are a simple machine, so I think that's where we're going with physics and screws. So they're going to be talking about all the different parts. They're each going to get, this is a tutor copy, it's big and giant, I'll have it laminated, and then the kids will all have a quarter size of these per pair that they can look at, because they will use their parts of a screw to look at some various screws that I will have and actually draw them. So that's the first part of this one, is they're going to kind of draw the screw using their drawing here to make it look like a screw and label the parts if they can write. If they can't, then you can just talk them through what the different ones are. And maybe, you can have them do all the screws to draw all the screws, or you can just have them draw one. It's up to you, maybe based on time. But then the second thing they're going to do is they're going to stand a screw up, flat side, and then the pointy side is up. And remember, they're working in pairs, so they're going to poke a hole through just gently, and they're going to start working in pairs. They're going to start screwing. Okay, one of the students is going to hold the paper and the other is going to start turning the screw. And as the screw turns, you're going to be asking them some questions, like notice that the paper stays in between the threads. And you can talk about how the screws move. Do the screws move the paper up and down the same? Because they can do this with all the different kinds of screws, because I have a bunch of different screws, so they can be passing them around and taking turns trying out the screws. So just have them be noticing how the paper is going down the screw as the screw is coming up through it. So you can talk about the relationship of the pitch of the screw and the amount of turning you need to move the paper. So the pitch being, I bet, how close together the threads are, would be my guess. The degree of the downward angle of the thread as it goes around the root. So I was wrong. But anyway, okay, so that's the first activity for week 18. Okay, experiment number 2 is inclined planes. So in working in pairs, the kids will get a paper with 2 triangles on them, so they'll cut them out. And then each pair will also have 2 pencils and some tape. And they're going to tape the triangles to the pencil. They're going to tape on the side that's got the A and the B. I'm going to do 2 pieces of tape at the top and bottom. And they're going to twist it around the pencil. And you see, we're twisting it so that we can see the dashes. Okay, so that's one triangle. And sorry, before you twist it around, you're supposed to talk about the triangles, how they are different. They're actually the same height, but one is much, much longer than the other. And you can talk about what that means about steepness. And you're going to be talking about inclined planes today. So incline is a word they may be less familiar with than steep. So you could, mention that when we talk about something being steep, we're talking about inclined planes. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this one on. You can talk about where you see inclined planes in real life, like wheelchair ramps and door stoppers and hills on roads, all kinds of things. Okay, so I'm going to go around with this one too. So obviously working in pairs, they can each do one. So the steeper one, or rather the longer one, which was less steep, went around the pencil more times. There are a lot more dashes than this one that is very steep. And so the discussion here talks about how when we wrap the triangles around the pencil, we turn the inclined planes, which was those, the triangles, the plane at which they were inclined is the inclined plane. into something that looks like a screw. So these kind of look like screws, which we've just done. So the dashed lines help us see the inclined plane as it goes up around the pencil. So the steepness of the triangle is just like the pitch of the screw threads, so tying that in. And so now you can talk about if you're trying to move something really heavy, lift something up really heavy using screws, would you want a steep pitch or a shallow pitch? And the answer is you would want a shallow pitch because it's easier to move a heavy object up a long, low incline, or rather, I guess it's this one, shallow pitch, than it is to move up a short, steep inclined plane. But if you wanted to move something up a screw using the fewest number of turns, you'd want a steep pitch to have to turn it fewer times. So this is kind of a quick little demo. So you really might consider letting the kids cut it out, or again, let parents go at it. So that is the second activity.